You can imagine particularly an organization that had their church building, their mission center, their training center, like a Bible school. These guys, after running over the whole society, turns that mission center to a terrorist camp. And then the Christian missionaries are there. So I asked, what are you people doing when you are there? He said, all of us that are allowed to stay alive have to be paying tax. Then we are allowed to stay in the community. You farm, but the farm produce belongs to them. They only allow you little to be eaten, so you don't die because you're working for them. And your wife, I want you to see this. This is the one I had. I didn't know when I started crying. Your wife and your daughters are their sex slaves. Okay, many years ago, before Dr. Myers left, Bahamas was usually my next place to go. We go there for two reasons: to enjoy tourism, go to, and then to attend his annual conference. Then we developed relationship, Pastor Sarah and I, with him, and he began to mentor us. He was the one that helped me to make transition. Papa Idahosa laid the foundation. Papa Idahosa lived ahead of his generation. But when I was observing him, I saw where he used to go. He once made a statement that you get to a point you don't know who to listen to. But he said one of those places he goes to feed himself was Bahamas. So I found Tulsa with the Faith Movement headquarters, and T.L. Osborne, Kenny Hagin, and Oro Robert. Now I found Bahamas. So we started going. So one of our pastors was working with him as his PA. He created the opportunity to develop relationship. We're sitting in his office. He made a statement. He said only 1 to 2% of God's children understand the kingdom. So he said to me, David, pay the price to understand it. He said it's a treasure hidden in the field, which very few understand. He said, when you actually discover it, you will sell every other thing to lay hold of it. Because if you do, this is what he told me. He said, God will shift heaven and earth to get you to where believers hardly go, because he needs you to represent him there as his ambassador. He will open up all kinds of doors within and outside the church. I went deep, and I began to study it wasn't long. I'm being invited in places I hardly see pastors. United Nations has invited me twice to come and address United Nations. Yeah. Because something happened to my understanding. Something broke. You see, Christian life and ministry is three-dimensional. The first level is where you're dealing with individual transformation, individual needs, individual ministry. You're dealing with individuals, people's needs. The second level is community, church. Then something beyond church, it could be community or organizational transformation. So the needs you're addressing is just beyond what individuals need to what a community needs. The third level is where you are dealing with national transformation, or you are dealing with needs of a whole nation, or you are even addressing the need of the world. I've also found out that, so my ministry, my understanding of ministry is now divided in these three dimensions. Beyond seeking to help individuals, I develop ministry on a higher level, which is to benefit a whole community of believers. I told you yesterday that Pastor Puju's ministry is divided across these three lines. And then, of course, the highest level of ministry is not the man that saved a soul or healed a sick person. is the man that saved a nation or transformed a nation. It's easier to cast demons out of an individual who has a problem. Can you cast a demon that is troubling Nigeria? If the church in Nigeria does not mature to be able to save and transform this country, we did not reach our capacity in God. So usually you notice that this is the pattern. God calls a man, Abraham. The next thing, he gets a community out of that man, the people of Israel. Then he now walks through Abraham and those people to reach all the nations of the earth. The ultimate goal in the calling of Abraham is that through you, all the families, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. Israel is a means to an end. Israel is not the end of the program. Church is not the end of the program. The kingdom is. So this program is you, the church, and the kingdom. And at the kingdom level, we're dealing with a bigger picture. And that level of understanding is one of the issues we are facing in the church world in Nigeria. Our understanding, majority of the people are still trapped with their own problems, with their own needs. A few have understood the purpose for the community, the church. Then maybe less than 1%, if we even have up to 2% in Nigeria that understand the kingdom dimension to the equation. Because if we do understand that third dimension, then we understand that the body of Christ in Nigeria is one. The sons of the bondwoman cannot be ruling us for years when we have over 120 million Christians. You don't know what is causing the problem? The church, the dimension we call church, have become a dividing wall. So denominationalism and my own little empires will not allow us unite our resources to deal with bigger issues. Let me just give you a small example. Our brothers in the north are dying. They are being killed. Just last year, statistics have come out that over 5,000 pastors have been massacred and their wives are widows. So when I returned from abroad this end of this year, and I had an audience for 2 days with northern missionaries, many that have lost their life. I had direct audience. I hosted them. Let me keep a lot of information. There are things I heard in that meeting that broke my heart. You can imagine, particularly an organization that had their church building, their mission center, their training center, like a Bible school. These guys, after running over the whole society, turns that mission center to a terrorist camp. So when they finish kidnapping and all that, that's where they keep the victims before they march, and they will be there negotiating for. And then the Christian missionaries are there. So I asked, what are you people doing when you are there? He said, all of us that are allowed to stay alive have to be paying tax. Then we are allowed to stay in the community. You farm, but the farm produce belongs to them. They only allow you little to be eaten, so you don't die because you're working for them. Then your wife, I want you to see this. This is the one I had. I broke that. I didn't know when I started crying. Your wife and your daughters are their sex slaves. When they go out after operating, of course they have those who are in the camp guarding the place. The ones who go to operate, who do all the things in the forest, when they return, your wife must be ready for them. They do whatever they like with her. Your daughters, including the ones that have not finished maturing. And one of them cried. He was crying when he was talking. He said, okay, sometimes I wish they even killed me when they killed my colleagues. Because now I'm alive, they preserve me. But every day I watch my wife and my 2 daughters being abused. Now, let me tell you, I left that place. I went to meet our leaders. I said, we're going to be putting 100 million every year to help these men. And there are many things we're going to do, because I asked them how to help. I knew I didn't know how to help. they mention certain things. One of the things they mention is that they need schools in safe places. Apostle, they need schools, territories that are safe, not the battlefront. And why are they asking for the schools? So that their daughters and children can at least live and go and get healthy education. Because right there again, they are being discipled as, after witnessing their parents killed, witnessing all the atrocity, being abused like a young girl, you are still 13, you are still 14. Now, the next thing again is that you have to be forced to go through a type of education and not bringing that if you are going to go to school at all, because many of them are there not going to school. So, okay, 5,000 missionaries have died, their wives are widows, and many of them, if they are living in these territories that are occupied, those wives are sex slaves. Now the children can have. That was when I told our people, the first budget we make every year, these people must get their money before we can spend it on any other thing. They must get their 100 million every year, and we're going to do it by 2030. We do a revaluation and know what else. Do you know just that thing that we did? We didn't announce it on TV. We didn't say anything. This January, a gentleman heard it. I don't know how he heard it. I don't know him before. He said, I heard that you decided to put other people's burden because it's not your own pastors. We're not even talking about our own pastors in that territory. We have pastors there. And we have our own budget for them. That you took burden of what does not concern you. This gentleman said, I'm a businessman. Now I'm also going to take burden of what. I don't want you to spend a kobo on this. The budget, I'm going to write it off. It's I'm providing the first 1 billion. The first gift I'm getting this year is ₦1 billion just to address issues in the north without asking him for it. Now, there are wealths. The smallest level is at the individual level, while you are focusing on yourself. Everything, business, me. There is a bigger wealth when you start thinking about your church and the community. There are a lot of needs. Can you imagine certain people that will say, Pastor Poch, what is the budget this year for this, for WOFBEC, for the one that is coming, for the platform, for all that? Every year, I want to be one of the person that write off this. Because at that moment, you are investing in your community. You are part of a community. Just like the organs in your body, a part of a body, you as an individual that is saved is placed to be part of a community. God sets the solitary in families. Now, there is a dimension of wealth God will open up for you when your vision goes beyond you. But the highest level of wealth comes when you start solving national problems. You see, all the things we're complaining about here in Nigeria are opportunities